Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Soul of Business with Blaine Bartlett. I am your host, Blaine Bartlett. The first question I'll ask, and it's really the only question I'll lead with, is when you hear the soul of business, what does that bring up for you?
It's a really interesting question. For me, when I hear the soul of business, the first thing that pops up is values. It's just the word values comes to my mind. And the reason why is because business is not easy. Running a business isn't easy. Being in a business isn't easy. And if you really don't have that core set of values that you go in with, then you can quickly be out of alignment with what you're doing. And you can lose the business, you can drop the business, it can turn into something that you're not excited about anymore. And so I think it's really important to have these core values that are really something you commit to, and the business will lead accordingly.
Champions are built based on feedback. Professionals are consistently and continuously looking for feedback about their performance and how they're contributing and then the impact that they're having. So, yeah, could you talk a little bit more about the way that request for feedback was received when you made it, particularly when you were touring?
A lot of times when I asked for feedback, people were shocked because, again, you're a high performer, you're high functioning. Why are you asking for feedback? And I think it goes back to the mindset that we talk about, that always having a growth mindset and being learnable, right? Always being able to say, I can still grow. I can still grow and I want to still grow, right? And that's really that's motivation for me, is knowing that I can keep every day, I can learn something new, right? And so, that has always served me. Even when I was an executive, even when I was a professor, the question was always, what do you need more from me and how can I support, so that not only am I growing in this, but we're all growing in this, right? And that's fundamental. And I always say, that's the thing about entrepreneurship, is being able to have that growth mindset, to keep growing, to pivot, to adapt, to try new things, and to put everything that you have in what you're doing. And I also believe that even if you're not an entrepreneur in the sense that you run your own businesses and be that way in a company. So even if you're in a corporation and you're not self-employed, think like an entrepreneur in a company, because that's how you grow, is by providing service. You run it like it's your own. You see big picture, you ask for feedback, and you're constantly looking at how can we make things better.
Rise Up for you as an organization, you've actually quadrupled your revenue structure here in the face of COVID. And I've got a hunch, just in the way that you're talking about this, that it wasn't the micro stuff that was being paid attention to. It was your ability, your confidence in yourself, and your team's ability in themselves that allows for what we're euphemistically calling a pivot now to take place. And I love the phrase that you understand what I can't see. I don't know what the future looks like any longer.
Right.
So how do I understand what I can't see? How do I know what to do when I don't know what to do? I have to be able to know myself well enough to be able to have confidence that I will land on my feet.
Well, the reality is that it takes just as much energy to stress than it does to find a solution.
Yeah, duh.
So when that happened, and so just so you know, there was about 30 speaking gigs that I had coming up in March, first part of April, one of them with Google, right? And within 1 week, a couple of days, all those went away. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of our corporate trainings. So when we go in and we work with companies, we go on site, we do corporate trainings.
Yep.
Those all went away. And so again, it's that confidence, it's the soft skills, it's the growth mindset to say, okay, I can either stress and panic and go into that mode, or I can go into solution mode, but they're both going to take the same amount of energy. So I might as well go this way, which is the solution. So within 1 day, I just sat with myself and I said, okay, how can we make this work? And what are some tools that are out there that we can grab onto and keep moving forward? And that's really all I did. So I figured out, okay, let's grab some tools, and now let's just add value. Add value, add value, add value. And within a couple days, I was doing that, and it didn't even skip a beat. I mean, there was not one bad month that we had, thankfully, because we just made it. And then I passed it down to the team. So leadership have to start with me, figure it out with me, to pass it, to pay it forward, or to pass it down. If I don't start with me, I have nothing to pay it forward. right?
Yep.
And so that's some of the challenges that we were seeing with leaders around the world, is that they were trying to manage their teams, but they weren't starting with themselves first. Are you calm? Have you managed your situation? Have you controlled your emotions and your stress? Have you came up with a game plan to some extent that now you can say, all right, team, here's what we're going to do. Everyone was just flying off and trying to make
Oh,
it
yeah.
up. Go.
Hair's on fire. Oh my God, we're going to die. The sky is falling.
Fire. So I'm thankful that we've been able to grow. We've brought on more team members, and we're still just, moving forward and, using Zoom, and honestly, we've gotten more reach. So now we're like in India, in the Middle East, and in some areas that we weren't in before COVID. So again, that's that mindset of saying, well, in some ways this could be really beneficial because I can reach a larger audience than I could maybe in California in my backyard.